Okay guys, today 2003 Nissan Altima. Got called in here. This one here, after it would start up, well, I'll actually just show you. I think that's even better. What we'll do is we'll start this thing up and we'll let it warm up for a moment. I'll bring you guys a little bit closer so that way you can hear it. And at a certain point here, well, I think the image stabilization might block it on you here, but what you'll see is this thing will come all the way down to the point where it'll want to stall, it'll shake, it'll run poorly. So what's actually happening? If we come in here, this is all the fancy stuff here. Let's get back out of this and let's go generic. Because a lot of you guys are going to be using generic. And yes, I'm using the Autel, it belongs to the shop owner, but we worked on this one together so he could understand it. Oh, there we go, it just stalled out. And if I come in here and do my auto scan, just saying this might be a long video because of the tool we're using. Just throwing that out there. But anyhow, we'll wait till it loads up. And we'll be able to see what's actually happening here on this car. And the reason why it stalls and why it happens at a consistent time almost all the time. Pardon me again. They tell me it's just my tool, it's just my scan tool, mine's the only slow Autel in the world, which I refuse to believe because every other one I touch, just like this one, this is brand new by the way, like a couple days old, kind of brand new. And you know, they may or may not have watched another YouTuber who uses it all the time. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now we're in. We're going to come up in here and we're going to go to our live data. And there's a couple things that we want to watch. Oh, I forgot. I'm probably going to need another 3 minutes here. Alright, there we go. So, it gives me all this wonderful nonsense. Pretty much everything that I have in here. Things I want to watch. I want to watch my loop status. I want to watch my short-term, long-term. I want to watch my coolant temp. Engine RPM, just so you guys can see at the point there where it stalls. And airflow, which of course is in pounds per second, but we can change that up by coming over here and hitting the our scales of justice and put that back to grams per second where we like it. And I think that should be... Did I grab an O2 sensor? No, I didn't. Let's grab an O2. And let's see, I must have missed it along the way there. It's probably right in front of my nose, and I'm looking through this viewfinder again like a dummy. Oxygen sensor, duh. Alright, so those are all the ones that we want to see. I'm going to start this thing up again. Alright, she's running. And the battery's getting low. Of course it is, because we're ready to do a video here. So it's me racing against an Autel battery. Let's see how this works out. So I noticed that the engine RPM is still not, well there it is, it's updating. Alright, so closed loop. Watch that short-term fuel trim. Negative, 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 negative. And also watch the RPM. We're at negative 25, it's not going to go any further than that. And if you watch that engine RPM there, if it's fast enough, I'm not sure if the update rate's going to be fast enough. But right now, we just about stalled. There you go, 225 at the same time as we went into open loop. So what's happening here? Well, look at our oxygen sensor. It's pegged rich at all times. All right, we're sitting here, we're saying at about 0.8, and it's not really moving from that point. So look at our airflow rate, 4.5 grams per second. Now, there's an unspoken rule of thumb that doesn't apply to Hyundai or Kia, but it does apply to almost every other car, which is a 2.5 liter engine is going to produce somewhere between 2.5 to 3 grams per second of air. That's what it's going to consume. So when we watched our grams per second there, we're looking at an over-reporting mass airflow sensor. It's actually sitting there and it's counting in how much air is there. If we go back on the Nissan side, you'll see something called BF fuel schedule. What that is the calculated amount of fuel that it wants to give for the amount of air that's coming in. It's not a fuel trim. It's basically telling you that it's like 4.6 would be the milliseconds of pulse width. which is really, really high. Just to show you, we're going to switch out this mass airflow sensor again. Let's put on the new one, or the reman one. It's a Cardone, so it's about as good as we're going to get right now. I believe he's ordering up a Hitachi for us, but this is where we're going to start from. So he has it unplugged, obviously, because he saw it drop down to 0 grams. So mind you, it's expecting more air, so it was always fueling for more. Even though the fuel trims are there, the BF schedule, this is why Nissans get a little bit screwy, because the BF schedule is what it's actually fueling for, and then it trims back a little bit off of the BF schedule, but it's always going to go off of the calculated amount of air. Not a lot of manufacturers actually do that. You know, most of them can recover from over-reporting mass air. This thing is almost double what it should be. So, new one's in. You're gonna plug it in. All right, that's good enough. You don't even have to put it all the way down. And I'll show you something here. Where's that old one there? You have that old one? The old one. I just want to show you guys. One of the reasons that we can get away with actually doing this and actually just leaving it open right now is it has a honeycomb. My favorite word. But that's going to articulate the air and make it so that way the airstream is still going to come in straight regardless of whether or not that air filter box is on there. Will it affect it? Yeah, maybe just a itty little bit, but not enough to cause any worries. So, we'll start it back up again. Mind you, I haven't even turned the key off. I let it stall and I'm starting it back up again. My airflow rate, I'm at 950 RPM. I'm at about 3.8 grams per second. As that comes back down to close to, I think it's like 780 is the idle RPM. It should start to adjust. But look at that short-term fuel trim. Adding fuel, 10% right now, in closed loop. And that RPM may be a little bit off because we have to let it get into the point where it learns its idle air volume again. Hopefully we won't have to do that to continue on with this video. That's another thing. This stupid thing, I'll tell. Who needs that? Where's the point of that? Let's see if it comes back down on its own. I may have to do the idle air volume learn on this. But, alright, so let's look at this though. 4.9 grams per second at 1300 RPM. Earlier we were at the same number where we had 780 RPM on here, and it was still reading about 4.8 grams per second. So you can see the difference there, right? In the amount of air that the engine can consume in that short amount of time. We're looking at it per second, right? Grams per second. So there's obviously a large disparaging number there that doesn't make sense. But if we look at our short-term fuel trim right now, negative 0.8, 9.4. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do something about the idle. I'll definitely have to do the idle air volume learn. I don't know, let's see. Will it give me enough time to do that? Let's give it a try. Am I sure I want to exit? Yep. There you go, Nissan. I will do the manual selection because it's faster. Pick North America, USA. Pick Altima Sedan. Okay, it moves to roll this real quick. 2003, hit yes. Gonna go diagnosis, control unit. We don't need to do a full scan, we just want engine. I remember he had done an idle air volume learn on this because it had gotten a new throttle body, and clearly that wasn't going to help anything. Actually, it might have hurt something, because when you're a mass airflow sensor that's reading incorrectly and you do an idle air volume learn, and you're calculating the wrong amount of air, obviously once you get something in there that calculates the correct amount of air, you're going to have some type of an idle issue. So it's no surprise. Holy shamoles. Let's hope this battery holds up. You can do it. Come on, there are viewers out there saying, oh, mine is faster. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to go right into our special functions here. And if we're lucky, the idle air volume learn will work on its own without us having to do any kind of trick. So we're going to do the automatic matching. And hit start, and hopefully it can bring itself down. Did it actually start? I hit start. There we go. Engine speed must be less than 1300 when idling. Place the brake and apply the shift to the reverse range that can reduce the current speed if it's too high. Yeah, okay. So if we catch it down there at the lower end, we should be okay. Come on. Yeah. We're gonna have to put it in gear. Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay. And start. And start. Now adjusting. Once I hear that idle go a little bit low, I'll have him slap it back in park. Alright, here going up a little bit. Here going down a little bit. Throw it back in park. Like all 03 Altimas, may be having a hard time trying to find that sweet spot. Yeah. Everything is off inside there, right? There's no blower motor on, no nothing. Everything is good. Now on some of these here, the only way that you can actually decrease the RPM is they actually have you go out there and they have you disconnect an injector to bring that RPM down, so it'll actually take the idle air volume learn. Throw it back in drive. Yeah, this one's going to be stubborn. Let's see. Yeah, those are the ones that are a little bit of a nightmare to get to. Check engine light should be on right now because you're getting a 507. If there was a stop button on here, I would stop it to tell you, but the only way you're going to stop it now is by shutting the car off. Yeah, go ahead, throw it in park and shut it off. Just saying, the launch has a stop button. Wait for it to fail. The key's off? Well, don't worry, Autel is still adjusting something. We don't know what.
There's a problem with the Autel.
Unfortunately, yeah. The launch has a stop button. I can stop it along the way and cancel it. Don't worry, it'll get there. Let's try the back button. Oop, hell no, that's not what we wanted. There is it again. Is it? Gonna hit this again. Still doing it. What happens if you hit back? Nope. You have to unplug it? Alright, so I guess we're going to try to unplug the VCI and see if that helps. I'm sorry? Right now it's still showing that it's plugged in. Still says it's plugged in. You have the VCI laid there on the floor.
Now you show the green. If you become X, now with the highlight.
Nope. Yep.
Do this. Normally I have to exit this car. And then you have to do it all over again.
Yep. I'm tempted to just go out there and go grab the launch. USA, Altima Sedan, L31, 2003. Diagnosis control unit. Engine. Well, listen, guys, I'll do the rest of this here, but I can tell you that the fuel trim's come back down, and over-reporting mass airflow sensor is what was wrong with this car. Completely negative fuel trims. The stalling happens when you're going through the open loop, closed loop, open loop, closed loop little routine that it does. When it can't control that fuel, it just drops back into open loop, and then when it goes back into closed loop, if it goes down too low, well then you're going to get a stalling condition, because you're going from adding 20 or taking away 25% fuel to adding 25% fuel, and no car at all is going to be happy about that. So I'll call this video where it is, but just wanted you guys to see, you know, part of what goes on with this thing. If the idle air volume learn turns into something interesting, if it doesn't work on the second attempt here, then I'll probably make a follow-up video. But in the meantime, that's the end of that. New mass airflow sensor, over-reporting airflow sensor, and you know, negative fuel trims and a stalling car. That's it.